Look, guys, I've been in the space for years. I've seen bull runs that have felt unstoppable and bear markets that felt like it was all over in crypto. What happened over the past 24 hours certainly can feel like that to, I'm sure, a lot of you guys out there. $19 billion liquidated, 1.6 million traders wiped away. It is totally brutal. I get it. I'm doing a video on a Saturday. I don't normally do videos on a Saturday. I certainly will not be doing a video on a Sunday. But let me tell you something that maybe you haven't heard today throughout all of crypto land. Number one, have faith. It is not over. Crypto is not going anywhere. We've seen more adoption in the past 12 to 18 months than we've ever seen in crypto. Whereas in 2020, we had a black swan market crash event. It really did feel like crypto was over. We didn't have the BlackRocks of the world and the Franklin Templetons of the world. These bigger banks, these governments, all totally adopting crypto. Whereas in 2025, we do. This seems more like market manipulation, wiping out leveraged longs than anything. And maybe it is the end of the bull market. Who knows? I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. But at the end of the day, crypto as an asset class is not going anywhere. You guys should know that by all the videos we've done. In the past couple of weeks alone, we've seen NASDAQ essentially saying they want to tokenize the stock market. We went over all of this information. So at the end of the day, this is still a ridiculously young asset class, a ridiculously young space that my opinion is going to integrate with pretty much everything that we do as a society. And we aren't even a drop in the bucket yet. That being said, when we see a liquidation event such as this, it kind of makes you step back, or at least I hope it makes you step back. If you've been affected, you should really think, okay, well, and I'm not saying affected from a price standpoint. Everybody just got affected from a price standpoint. I'm saying affected from a mental standpoint, or maybe you've lost, maybe you over leveraged your position and maybe you've actually had to like sell off assets in your life because of what just happened over the past 24 hours. That gets a little bit scary and it goes kind of beyond just like, okay, I know where crypto is going, but I also know not to over leverage myself, to manage risk and all the other stuff. There are more important things than crypto. And when you're making decisions in crypto, just like in life with anything else, and those decisions start affecting, your health, your family, your relationships, your peace of mind, whatever it may be, it's time to step back and reassess. So if this, I'm kind of making this video for you guys, like if this even helps one person that's dealing with any of those things, this is more so for you. So when this market crashes and it takes more than portfolios or, your sleep, your hope, your joy, your health, it's time to sit back and reassess because no bag is worth that. What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I'm going to try not to make this super long, but let's talk about lessons learned in this space because for those of us that have been here for a long time, we've all learned them over the years. Crypto moves very fast. It rewards long-term patience and individuals that are willing to kind of be patient in this space as well. People who survive here are normally the people that kind of learn the balance of when to be greedy versus, how to be patient as well. So like a good example of that is like everything sitting at all-time high. And even at the beginning of this week, we were talking about, or I was talking about total crypto market cap sitting, at all-time high and not being able to essentially print another candle above it. So we hit all-time high literally a week ago for the total crypto market cap. And this week, I think as I kind of was doing videos, we were fluctuating a tiny bit above it and then kind of dropping below and everything else. Like at the end of the day, it's not surprising that we're facing kind of issues right now. And I don't really want to focus too much on prices because this video really isn't about that. But I'll say briefly, it will be interesting to watch where this weekly candle closes in about a day. And, anyways, this video is more so about being able to sustain yourselves in this space and learning a little bit of balance, not checking charts every 5 minutes. So like a good example was yesterday, and I know tons of people were drastically affected. You really have to kind of sit back and consider like why was I or why were you drastically affected? Were you over leveraging positions? Were you making decisions that were a little bit more risky than you should have been making? I will tell you from personal experience, I've never traded on leverage. I don't ever plan to trade on leverage. The little amount that I've been able to invest in crypto over the years, and I'm not even a millionaire or any of that stuff, which I probably should be and could be at this point if I would have went in different directions, but I've decided not to do that. And I focused a lot more on interviews and doing all sorts of other stuff and trying to build a company and all this stuff. But I will tell you that you can love this space and still be able to step back or put yourself in a position where you can still step back, where you're not checking a chart every 5 minutes, where you're not chasing green candles and chasing pumps, where during a bull market where we're hitting all-time highs, you don't feel like you have to be leveraging positions at that point in time because you've made decisions maybe a year and a half, 2 years prior to that that have made it a little bit more comfortable for you to stomach big crashes like we just saw yesterday. If you're knee deep in a bull market and all prices are continuously hitting all-time highs and you're still leveraging into positions and you're buying assets at all-time high and stuff like that, that is a recipe for disaster. We do so many videos on this channel about all of the bullish stuff going on in the world, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a plan for what happens when prices crash or what happens when prices start peaking. And we've been peaking in this space for quite some time now, right? Like I know everybody's complaining and saying they're bored, but at the end of the day, for some context, XRP over the past 24 hours crashed down to what, like $1.20 something, H bar around 7 cents. H bar and XRP were at those levels a year ago. I don't see people, I didn't see a ton of people being like, oh my God, what a great opportunity to be getting into these assets at these prices. But now we see people getting liquidated over the past 24 hours and everybody freaking out. Like there's a time to be super greedy. And that time is normally when we are far away from all-time high and everybody is saying crypto is dead. And there's a time to be a little bit more skeptical and maybe safeguarding your positions. And that is when we're hitting all-time highs and things like that. We always talk about having a plan. So I hope for the people out there, definitely feel for the people out there that have had positions liquidated over the past day, and I've seen a lot of those stories. I also hope that those people use that as more of a learning opportunity and a stepping stool, and not giving up on this space or themselves, because this space is very young. There's going to be so many more opportunities, and yeah, I think there's just more important things than crypto. You can love crypto and still be able to step back. You can believe in blockchain and distributed ledger and XRP and HBAR and Quant and Chainlink and Bitcoin or Ethereum, or literally pick an asset and prioritize your life over the markets. And I know that that's very difficult to do. I've heard stories of people saying not even the price action of crypto is addicting, but just literally logging on to social media and seeing hype is addicting. I mean, going on, let alone looking at something like this. I mean, I know my first market cycle, I literally would pull up CoinMarketCap in the bull market, and I got in late 2016. So that fall and winter of 2017, I was pretty much looking at the prices of crypto every 40 minutes, every 30 minutes sitting at work. That isn't healthy. Like, you should be in a position or baking yourself into a position that you don't even have to do that, that you just kind of know where this space is going. And for context of where this space is going, we brought this up, $33 billion in real world assets have been tokenized. They're tokenized right now. Back in 2021, that was like $200 million. So we've went from like $150, $200 million of RWAs to 33 billion 4 years later. And stablecoin predictions, for 2028 or 2030, going from like $230 billion market cap up to like 3 trillion, $4 trillion. So if stablecoins alone are at 2.3, 2.5, 4, let's say $4 trillion in the bullish scenario, that's more than the total crypto market cap right now. Stablecoins could potentially by 2030s, like Citigroup basically saying that a couple months ago, in the bull scenario could be at $4 trillion. If that's the case for stablecoins, where do you think crypto is going to be? And there's going to be a bottom. There's going to be a depth here still. There's going to be a bottom to whatever we're in right now for this market. There's going to be a bear market. I'm not saying we're in a bear market right now because I don't think we are yet. But at some point, there's going to be a bottom, and everybody's going to tell you crypto's going way lower. Crypto's going to crash. And what's going to happen during that point in time is exactly the opposite of what happened over this past 24 hours. Crypto will not crash further during the actual bottom when everybody says it's totally dead. That's the time to be greedy. That's the time where you should have spent over this bull market. What did I miss? What types of things was I not able to get into that were at all-time high, that were too risky for me to get into, that are now not as risky because everything is crashing? Everybody says crypto's dead. I see yesterday some people had like some buy orders on XRP and probably scooped up HBAR and other assets. HBAR dropped to 7 cents. I think right now it's at 17 cents. XRP dropped to like $1.17 or $1.20. I saw somewhere around there. Right now, $2.38. That's because those people had a plan. Those people had buy orders sitting on some of these centralized exchanges that got filled. You don't do that by freaking out and looking at the charts every single day, every second. You do that because you're strategic and you start figuring out, hey, how do I beat the game in here, right? What do they say in Vegas? The house always wins. How do I beat the house? Because crypto is a very manipulated market still. I see all these news things today that are like, oh, it happened because of tariffs with China and all this other stuff. BS. It happened because crypto was at all-time high and people were over leveraging. And the whales and the big boys that have all the money, the 1% of 1% in crypto, control these markets still. We are not, crypto is a very manipulated space, and they wiped everybody out. You're not going to win unless you're the 1% of 1% in crypto and control the markets. So this crash was huge, but I just kind of wanted to put into context for everybody to maybe zoom out just a little bit. The entire world is going to be tokenized. The entire world is going to integrate with crypto. Artificial intelligence and blockchain and distributed ledger, as they converge alongside some of these other things that are happening, like identity and all this other crazy stuff, it's literally going to change the way that we live as a society. We've seen BlackRock, Franklin Templeton just earlier this week announcing a future investment site and all this crazy stuff. So have faith. It is not over. The mission, the innovation, everything that we've seen, it's not dead yet. In 2020, like I said, that crash, that black swan event actually felt like it could potentially be the end of crypto. That's when XRP went down to, I think 11 cents. I know I scooped up a little bit of XRP at like 14 cents back then. Not nearly enough. That's when it felt like it was over. We're just getting started now. You see, all of the institutions are here, and you better believe they're part of the ones controlling this space. So at the end of the day, same video I did 2 days ago, I'm not selling certain digital assets. They can pry them from my fingers if they'd like to try, but I'm not leaving this space. And something like yesterday that happened, it's horrible to watch happen, obviously, but expect more of this to happen and be prepared for it. If you're over leveraging positions at all-time highs or near all-time highs of assets, that's not sustainable. And I don't want to say what you're doing. You don't have the right to do what you want to do, but it gets pretty scary when other aspects of your life may be getting affected based on your investment decisions. Just like addicts, and they got, like, I'm an alcoholic, right? So I stopped drinking. I'm almost 2 years sober. If I were to go out, like if I were engaging in high risk behavior right now, I shouldn't be shocked like if it goes in the wrong direction, because I'm kind of asking for it. Now I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of trading and stuff like that, so I'm not saying that these people didn't know what they're doing. But all I'm saying is that this market is highly volatile. I don't think you need any more risk on top of an already really, really risky asset class. But this crash is a reminder, or I hope is a reminder to people, that these markets shouldn't define you. And even if it did really affect you, don't give up on this space, because we are very early. There's going to be tons more opportunities to get yourself in a better position or whatever it may be, or learn from this as a stepping stone towards, things not to do or things to do better, or whatever it may be. You're someone obviously that's already in this space, which means you're smart enough to be here early before the mass populace still. You saw something different in this space. Curiosity and conviction are rare. And I think most of us that are in this space still now in 2025, I still believe that we are very early compared to the masses. I think most of the masses are probably watching what happened on the news over the past 24 hours in crypto and being like, I'm not going to touch crypto. That's super risky, but I think most of us that are here still realize that, yeah, like at some point in time, the bow has to break and utility has to reign supreme. I know we're not there yet because just yesterday I did a video that Binance meme coin platform that I warned everybody about had like memes crashing 95% too. It's like, I think at some point we are going to see hopefully some of these networks justify kind of the utility bull market. I think real world asset tokenization plays a big part in that. I think, and I don't think that we're even there yet. I mean, $33 billion of RWA is tokenized is like nothing, even though it was only at 200 million 4 years ago. 32 or 33 billion is absolutely nothing. The real estate market alone is hundreds of trillions of dollars. You see DTCC, who runs derivatives clearing throughout the entire world. I mean, they essentially, it's like 2 quadrillion or 3 whatever the number is, quadrillion annually, like literally shilling you blockchain and DLT. They're integrated with public networks. Like all of these enterprise and institutions are integrated with public networks. And I get it. We're pissed off. We don't see the utility overlap. It's not a direct correlation into asset price right now. But I believe that like if these public networks are actually used, there's going to be a carryover effect into the assets that are native to these networks. It's kind of just, I would imagine it being natural. I think stable coins are going to get us to a point of mainstream adoption as well. I think stable coins certainly take away a little bit of some of the narratives around settlement of crypto. I think it does that to XRP. I think it does it to some other assets as well. But that's not to say that I'm not super bullish on XRP and other assets as well. I think XRP is highly liquid. I think that it's probably highly liquid in exotic corridors. I think that as stable coins get widely adopted, it is almost like, okay, there's already a foot in the door with mainstream and the mass populace because they're used to something that's stable of value and they're already used to digital currency because at the end of the day, the dollar's already digital. We already are used to using credit cards and stuff like that and everything seemingly instant. Now it's just actually instant with lower fees. And if they're already into stable coins and we're at a $3 or $4 trillion market cap for stable coins in a handful of years, it becomes that much easier for people, as they inherently do, to get bored of whatever yield they're getting from a stable coin or using a stable coin because, oh, here's crypto and I'm already used to the technology. So there's a lot to be really positive about. Tokenization, artificial intelligence. I've done interviews with Boston Consulting Group, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, all of these entities out of Genfinity over the past couple of years. I've interviewed Lehman Baird and Charles Hoskinson and David Schwartz and all these people. You get a sense over the past 12 to 18 months that when you talk to these individuals that historically have been pretty reserved. I mean, even Dr. Baird, I've interviewed like probably a handful of times. The earlier interviews, you can go back and listen. There's a lot more caution around what's being said versus the later interviews. And we're at the point now where pretty much all of these amazingly smart individuals who are changing the world are basically telling you that everything in the world is going to be tokenized. And yes, I know that that's a broad statement, but at the end of the day, they're not wrong. And we're seeing the huge institutions and enterprises here wanting their slice of the pie. Swift just announced that they are going to have a blockchain ledger as part of their infrastructure. We've been talking about Swift on this channel and how XRP or Ripple was, trying to supplant them years ago. And I don't think that that's the use case for Ripple anymore, by the way. Just fully out there. I think that if you are still shilling that narrative, it's like, okay, what are you doing at this point? I'm not saying that XRP can't interoperate with those rails down the line and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's pretty clear, cut and dry that Ripple sees real world asset tokenization as pretty much the end game and what the XRP ledger can do as far as that's concerned. And I think that their acquisitions and moves have also kind of stated that. That's still, like I said, I can be bullish on XRP and not think that there's a secret vault under Fort Knox somewhere. Anyways, this crash over the past 24 hours was rough. I am rambling now, so I'm just going to kind of let it go. But the end kind of thought process here is to have faith. Those of us, I think, that have been here for a handful of years at this point in time, even if they have gotten wiped out, I think everybody knows what's coming. I think everybody knows what's at stake. they can use whatever news they want to justify or say that the crypto market crash was surrounding. But at the end of the day, it's market manipulation and over leveraged longs being wiped out. And you want to talk about manipulation. I mean, think about all the announcements that are going on in crypto right now, but crypto as a whole still being a $3.65 trillion asset class. That's under individual companies. Crypto should be somewhere probably, let's say 7 to 10, 8 to 12 trillion dollars right now. There is 1000%, at least in my opinion, there's suppression of certain ecosystems and assets and just the whole asset class as a whole, let alone from the fact that like it's taken us so long to regulate this asset class. That in and of itself, not regulating or the avoidance of regulation in and of itself could be considered manipulation. Um, anyways, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your weekend. But just like this market will eventually recover, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen now or in the future, but I believe that we haven't even seen anything for what's coming with crypto. Um, the things that really matter, your relationships, your health, your peace of mind, those are things that you really can't afford to lose, right? So, anyways, have faith, not just in crypto, but in yourselves. Take a breath, take care of yourselves. The market will still be here tomorrow, whether red or green. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Thanks.